Jack's story to sort of introduce you to Martine's journey in laminitis.
Of course, well, before I became an EVM ambassador, I had Jack from about 10 months old, and he was not an overweight pony whatsoever. Unfortunately, he became victim to a diet founder, which was a very acute, quick onset founder brought on by too much grain in his diet and reducing his work intake. He was a show pony and was doing really well, and unfortunately lacked a bit of oomph. So I reduced his workload, upped his grain, and suddenly became very acutely laminitic overnight, pretty much. Went through a lot of work with my vets. They went overseas, got some information. We did everything from locking him up, putting him on Epsom salts to try and thin the blood to help his feet. We had to bandage all his feet with padding. He lived in basically a wet sand paddock, in a really small confined area to minimise his movement. As you can see by one of the pictures, he used to stand in a children's wading pool to just try and reduce.
I love that. That's fantastic.
That actually became a really, really handy tool for those who won't have horses that wear ice boots or stand in ice buckets. For those horses that are willing to stand in a pool, it is really easy. Hang a hay net up there. They're happy to stand there and eat their hay while they stand in the wading pool. That became a really useful tool for myself during the time. We ended up having to put on glue-on shoes, which back 20 odd years ago weren't the done thing, which obviously now Dr. Chris is showing so many new variances of shoes out there nowadays for laminitis. He was a different pony to shoe. He was actually down on the heels, more up on the toes, completely unconventional. Just goes to show that not every horse fits the same banner. But unfortunately, it was just trial and error. It took a lot of years to get him paddock sound. He was never rideable again, unfortunately. But that was basically Jack's story. He survived his laminitis for about 10 years and unfortunately succumbed to arthritis. So he taught me a lot about laminitis and taught me how to micromanage my horses, which brings me to my little fat pony miniature horse, Toby. Has never, ever shown any signs of being a laminitic horse whatsoever, has always been a little fat pony, unfortunately. But then I became aware of EVM products before becoming an ambassador, and I started on their premium balancer pellets and also premium blend. And then I became an ambassador and I learned about the laminitis fighter, which was now Fat Pony. And I started Toby on it, and within probably 6 weeks, with no other change, he lost his crest. He all of a sudden lost his fat pockets that he had down his neck and down his shoulders. And I was able to reduce his workload and reduce the amount of times that he was locked up, and he was able to go out and graze a lot more in the paddock and reduce all that sort of stressful time of being locked up and muzzles on and all the rest of it. And it was just a simple introduction of a simple supplement such as, Pharmalogic Fat Pony that helped just take that pressure off. And as you can see by sort of the bottom picture, he was a lot less chunky than he was in the top 2 photos. And that was simply by just introducing the Fat Pony. And obviously also, minimising the grasses at the wrong times and doing all the things that we learned through, when you had a founder horse before. But he's never been a founder horse. And through spring, I just double the dose if it's a really bad time, and I still keep him locked up if it's, the wrong time of year, etc. But it just takes that pressure off, and knowing that you can just have that little bit of breathing space, and they're not always having to be worked every day. Like, he's 15 now, and I can just manage him a little bit sort of less stressfully, which makes life a lot easier.
Thanks, Martine. Toby was one of our very early customers on the Fat Pony, and we chose him to be our poster boy there on the label. We thought his experience of fantastic management from Martine, and then the difference that she saw by adding the nutraceutical supplement, it's just been great to see the difference it's made to his life. Thank you, Martine.
No problem. Thank you.